All right, get this. Federal authorities in El Paso relinquishing custody of a man linked to this violent jewelry robbery. This happened back in June in Denver. So our partners at News Nation, they're reporting it's part of a Venezuelan gang. They do report Homeland Security officials turned over the suspect, Gene Torres Roman, to the Denver County Sheriff's Office. The brutal robbery caught on video shows several young men pulling guns, even pistol whipping two women. So a few days after, El Paso SWAT officers took several people into custody, happened at a motel, and reportedly Torres was there. It's not clear what the status of the other people taken into custody are either.
Hey there, Patriots. This is True Outlaw Patriot coming at you with another one. The clip that I just showed you came out not too long ago on the news about some Venezuelan gang members who, as you've seen from the video, did a armed robbery at a jewelry shop, and even going as far as assaulting two women in the process of doing it. Excuse me. It seems that this is something that's getting out of control with a lot of illegal migrant Venezuelan gang members coming over into the U.S. and just causing havoc, okay, in all these supposed sanctuary cities, okay, from New York to Denver, Colorado, okay. A couple of things first before we continue. Number one, I got a few more video clips to show you that's gonna make people really open up their eyes to see what's going on. Okay, so giving you guys fair warning, this video might be a little lengthy, but there's a reason also that I want to do it this way, and I'm gonna go into something that I just feel that I need to share with everybody, and that's this right here. Okay, before I continue with the video, I just want to share this with everybody. The video that I put out last night, okay, every day I go check out the analytics and see what's going on. Now I've noticed something, and I'm going to share this with you guys, okay? The video that I put out last night, I lost one subscriber, as you can see here, and I only got 65 views. And you can see my arrow is dark and it's pointing down, meaning that it didn't get that many views, okay? And the reason why I'm showing this is because of this down here. My video, I've never had a video, okay, since I started this channel, I've never had a video with a viewing retention this high. Never. I mean, even up to the point where almost 11 minutes in, I'm nearly at 50% above typical retention. I mean, 5 minutes in, I'm up to 59% typical retention. I mean, I go 28 minutes into the video, I'm 43% above typical retention. This is probably the best video I put out where I got such a high view retention on it, okay? And yet, the video was only viewed 65 times. Now, the reason why I bring that up is because when I go to my Rumble channel, the same video, okay, if you can see here where it says raw views, that's one thing. Unique views means that it was watched throughout. I only got 5, okay? And when I go to my total views, it shows right here, Rumble, only 5 views on Rumble. Nothing on YouTube, nothing on the third party. Why do I bring this up? I bring this up, okay? Let me go back to the video we were just at. I bring this up for a couple of reasons. I've noticed a lot of my videos, when I was doing videos on immigration months ago, I was getting a lot of views. I'm noticing that the closer we're getting to November, I'm getting less views. But here's the thing. As I showed you, okay, the retention of the views, meaning that people are watching it longer because they like the video, they're up. Which you would think that the algorithm will push these videos out more. Okay? But it just seems that regardless of what we're hearing, so many people talking and expressing their grievances about what's going on with all the illegal immigration and what's going on at the border and all the crime and all that, even though many people are talking about it, it just seems as if, you know what, in my opinion, the algorithm's ignoring that. Now, I don't care what kind of a content creator you are on YouTube. You have a video that shows, even though it's a little wiggly, but you have a video that shows a blue line above all the gray this high, you would think you'd have an easy 1,000 views. And I say that because when I look at the more of the numbers, it was only pushed out 1,100 times. So, what does that tell me? That tells me that with the election coming along, okay, that these are topics that maybe, just saying, are being somewhat suppressed. Okay? And that's fine. That's fine, because if that's the case, it doesn't take away what's going on. So, with that being said, we're going to keep talking about it, and I'm going to keep putting it out. Plain and simple. Okay? People are being victimized, and society needs to be aware of what's going on. So before I continue with the rest of the videos to show you what's going on, I just want to thank all my new subscribers and all my subscribers here on YouTube and on Rumble. So don't forget to comment, like, share, subscribe, pass the channel around. If you can help support the channel, there's a link in my description to my Cash App and my merch store. If you can help on my friend Josie and Loza Alexander, there are links in the description to their Give, Send, Go and their GoFundMe campaign. Also, I cannot stress enough, and I know, like I said, a lot of my videos are lengthy. This one's going to be lengthy too. It's Saturday. I had to leave work early. That's why I'm doing this a little earlier than usual. It's raining. I don't know if you guys can hear it in the background. We're getting hit with a heavy rainstorm. Can't work outside. That's fine. But if anybody's home on a Saturday night, watch this video in its entirety. As a matter of fact, go back to yesterday's video, watch it again. Give it a thumbs up. Pass it around. Let's show the algorithm that, you know what, us as Americans, no matter how much the truth, like I said, if it's being suppressed, but regardless of what's going on, we have an election coming, and we need to start knowing what's going on so like that we can vote with common sense, okay, and put an end to all this chaos. So with that being said, let's get to see what's going on in Colorado, because this is something that it's not being heard on the regular mainstream media. Here we go. This news was put out a day ago on New at 10, I guess is Colorado, what is it, Fox 31 Denver. This came out a day ago. Pay attention.
Preparing for the possibility of a Venezuelan election protest this weekend. It comes after a local protest last month over the South American country's controversial presidential election.
Now, police were called to monitor a large gathering of people on Havana Street and Mississippi Avenue. Officers say that shots were fired that night into the air at the crowded parking lot, but nobody was hurt. Here's some video from that night. Businesses nearby also closed their doors early that night. Fox 31's Aaliyah Sims spoke to police about how they're now planning for this weekend. Aaliyah.
Yeah, America police here say the gathering a few weeks ago was spontaneous and they had no information ahead of time to prepare for a crowd that large. Now they say now that they have the heads up, they can bring in those additional resources to make sure everyone remains safe.
We very much respect the First Amendment rights of people to gather and have their voices heard, but we are not going to tolerate any criminal activity.
Aurora Police sending out this message on X, reading, "We want our community to know we are actively monitoring the situation due to recent events in our city."
There's been a call by the opposition candidates to the Venezuelan presidential election from July to have a day of protest worldwide this Saturday.
So given the city of Aurora having a strong migrant community, and officers monitoring this large gathering on July 28th, they want to be prepared.
We're in direct contact with many members of the Venezuelan community, and right now we do not have a specific gathering location.
Chris Jewell, acting deputy chief of Aurora Police, tells me, in addition to bringing in officers on their day off, the department also plans to partner with neighboring law enforcement agencies.
We have plans for just about everything, so I'll just tell you that, depending on the size of the crowd, will dictate the type of response we have.
They want to ensure safety for officers, demonstrators, the community, and business owners.
There is no direct tie at all with the Venezuelan gang. This is all about the Venezuelan community protesting the presidential election. And as with any large gathering, there may be bad actors in there, and it could be anybody, not necessarily a gang member. And like I said, we just want to make sure that that group is safe, the community is safe.
Okay, and I'm going to stop it right there. I have so many things to say about this. Okay, but I'm going to go with the simple stuff right now. Now, this cop is saying, okay, that with like any large gathering, that there might be gang members and stuff like that. Okay, it says that they had a big gathering going on. It was spur of the moment. Nobody knew. This is where the problem lies with people from other countries coming into America, okay, and don't pledge their allegiance to America. This is what's going on in America right now, okay? Because the way I see it, just because there was no gang members or anything like that supposedly in the crowd, you have all these people from Venezuela gathering. Maybe they're all illegal. Who knows? Maybe it's half and half. Who knows? My thing is this. Why the fuck are you gathering about a fucking election in another country if you're in America? You care so much about Venezuela? Go back to Venezuela. Go back to Venezuela and go vote in the person that you want. But you're going to come to America, or maybe even be born in America, and worry and protest and want to have a gathering about the upcoming election in another country. Please, somebody tell me if I'm wrong for thinking like this. I need to know, because I tell you what, being born and raised in the Bronx, I'm born and raised around a lot of different cultures. There's elections in Italy. You don't see the Italians in New York worried about it. There's elections in Greece. You don't see it. There's elections in Ireland. You don't see it. In England, think of any culture in New York where a big portion of their citizens are in America, in New York, and there's an election going on. I've never seen, me personally, I've never seen anybody in New York protest, okay, about an election going on in another country. This is all new shit that's going on in America. You got the Palestinians protesting for what's going on in the Middle East. Okay? You've got now the Venezuelans doing this in Denver, Colorado, because they're worried about an election that's going on over there. As a matter of fact, there's news going out that I believe in in Brazil, I got to get the country right, but they got their first female black president, okay? And she's talking about that they want to hold the U.S. accountable for reparations for the slavery that was done in their country. I kid you not. A political official in another country wants to hold America responsible for that. So, you got all these people in Denver, Colorado, right? Where you had the mayor taking in all these illegals, treating them better than citizens, American citizens, mainly his constituents, are suffering. So that was a day ago, okay? I'm going to show you some news that's been happening the past week and a half, 2 weeks, that, like I said, the mainstream media will not talk about. So while the mayor to Colorado, and in case anybody forgets, there was a meeting, I believe, and I put a video out a few months ago. It was Eric Adams, Brandon Johnson, and I believe it was the mayor or the governor of Colorado. They all got together and went to the White House to go ask Biden for help. Okay? But meanwhile, here we are, months later, and now you got them gathering out there because they're worried about the election in Venezuela. But none of them want to go back to Venezuela to vote, okay, to stand by their people on their motherland. No, they'd rather do it here. But let's see what else is going on in Denver that the mainstream media is not telling anyone about. Here we go. This news feed came out 8 days ago. Okay?
Aurora's mayor says the city will spend money on temporary housing for people who are living in an apartment complex being shut down by the city for terrible living conditions. Some of the 85 families living in that apartment building near Colfax and Norm gathered today along with community advocates asking for more time. They've been ordered out in 6 days. They're asking that they not be punished for the fact that the landlord allowed horrendous conditions to develop over years there. Piles of garbage, rats, sewer backups, no electricity.
Most assistance programs require time to resettle someone to another home. The planning and execution of this evictment is reckless and insufficient.
Today, Aurora Mayor Mike Kaufman told us that the municipal code dictates the faster timeline for closing that apartment building. He called the owners out-of-state slumlords who are currently being taken to court by the city for allowing their properties to become so dangerous.
Now, you heard what he just said. Keep that in mind. The mayor called the landlords out-of-state slumlords. I want everybody to keep these little. I'm going to try to point them out as best I can, so like that I can show you what's going on in the next video. Okay, because it just seems like, I mean, you have these people that are here. Okay, they're complaining about their living conditions. Now, listen, I don't think that anybody anywhere around the world should live in deplorable living conditions. Okay, but when I seen this, I was like, something just doesn't seem right. Okay, it just doesn't seem right. You know, we had a big influx of illegals coming in. Kamala Harris did her deals in Venezuela, whatever the case is. They let in all these Venezuelan migrants. I believe it was, over 100,000. Okay, Greg Abbott was like, we're not taking them. Okay, other red states were like, we're not taking them. So Colorado stepped up to the plate. Okay, a lot of them were sent to New York and Chicago. But look at what's going on. Okay, in the blue states that are taking them in. Now, people may say, well, you know, these are people that they need a good place to live because the landlord is a bad person. Okay, and that may be the case. But like I said, something didn't seem right when I started, checking out these news feeds. But we'll get to that after you finish hearing what this guy and the mayor has to say. Here we go.
That property owner and now 3 conservative city council members in Aurora say that the residents and the city are not telling the truth. They claim, without evidence, that the building is actually being closed because it was taken over by a Venezuelan gang.
Okay, you heard what he just said, the way he put the spin on it. They claim, without evidence, that a Venezuelan gang has taken over the building complex. You see the way they start already? Let's continue.
That building has been a problem for years.
Mountains of garbage, rats, sewage, no electricity. Aurora Mayor Mike Kaufman defends the unprecedented decision by the city to close the entire apartment building at Colfax and Nome.
We've been working with this building and its owners for a very long time.
Now I just want to stop real quick. I'm going to go right back to this. I just want to show something. They showed the garbage. Who does that? Rats? Rats don't do that. Okay? They show the water leaks. That's a possibility. That I can blame on the landlord. You're not getting things fixed. Okay. But then who busts out the window? It's got to be a pretty big fucking rat to come out that window. But you see what I'm saying? Now listen, do I think that when people are left in a condition where they just feel like there's no hope to fix anything, they just let it turn to crap? Yes, I do. But if you know that you came from a country where that's the way it is, and you're in another country, and you see that the landlord is not fixing water leaks, I get it. There's probably something you can do, probably something you cannot do. But when it comes to other things where the community could get together and say, you know what, maybe we shouldn't go around busting windows and shit like that. Maybe we should all get together and find a way to really dispose of the garbage instead of letting it pile up. You see what I'm saying, people? It just doesn't seem right. Okay? But we're going to listen to what the mayor has to say, because obviously, he's over here saying that it has nothing to do with gangs or nothing like that. It's just out-of-state slumlords. Let's go.
Been working with this building and its owners for a very long time. I mean, they're out-of-state slumlords, and they haven't maintained the building.
The landlord from New York has hired a public relations firm out of Florida and now has several of Mayor Kaufman's fellow conservatives on Aurora City Council convinced that the real issue is not years of code violations, but a sneak cover-up of a takeover of the complex by a Venezuelan gang.
We have a Venezuelan gang problem that's taken over a number of our apartment complexes.
The city of Aurora says that's not true, and Aurora police urge city council to be wary of misinformation.
We don't know that all the information that's publicly out there right now is correct. It's probably not.
Aurora police say they believe the Venezuelan gang, Tren de Aragua, is up.
Okay, let me stop it again real quick. That was the same cop in the first video I just showed you that came out yesterday about the people gathering this weekend to protest about the elections in Venezuela. This video came out 8 days ago, and he was already repeating that. Let's go.
Operating inside the Denver metro area, there's a new task force working to identify the number of gang members and what they're doing.
They're here. We know they're here. We think it's a test.
City Councilwoman Danielle Jurinsky suggested that a recent mass gathering of Venezuelans to await election results was linked to the gang. Mayor Kaufman says it's counterproductive to conflate a gathering of thousands of people with gang activity at a time when Aurora needs help from Venezuelan immigrants to root out the gang.
It's challenging because
Now you heard what he said. They need help from the Venezuelan community, from the Venezuelan immigrants to weed out the gang. The video that I put out yesterday, I spoke about that. Okay? I spoke about how back when I was a kid, when the different immigrants came from different countries, the Dominican Republic, Colombia, Ecuador, I didn't mention Honduras, I should have mentioned Honduras. Back then, they were weeding out and pointing out the gang members, pointing out the drug dealers, pointing out the bad element, helping the community, helping law enforcement, because they didn't want that element coming from their countries to a new country. What's going on now is that people are coming in, they're not helping, they're not cooperating, which tells me that, you know what? Me personally, if you're not going to help, then you should not be here.
Because they tend to prey on their own. In other words, these are Venezuelan gang members within the Venezuelan community, which is new to our area, and there's a fear factor in terms of trying to get the cooperation among these Venezuelan migrants to report, that they're being victimized.
The conservatives on city council made clear that nothing the mayor or police were saying trumped their feelings.
This is what we believe, and our opinions are not up for debate. This is our beliefs. The three of us believe that there is a gang problem, a huge gang problem, that apartment complexes and areas of our city are being taken over.
Mayor Kaufman said that his own recent comments about parts of Aurora being taken over by violent criminals was not a reference to the violent gang. Kaufman said he was talking about parts of Colfax that had long-standing issues with violence, drug dealing, and prostitution.
I'll now leave that at that, because what he just said, now if you listen, it's trying to skirt away from saying that it's not calling the Venezuelan gang members that are a problem, it's the problems that they have already. Something else that me and tens of millions of other Americans have been saying and feel the same way. And this is why I get upset when they try to make it seem as if, you know what? The real problem are the American-born criminals. That's only half the damn problem. The whole problem is that when you have gang members coming from other countries, they are in cahoots with the homegrown criminal element here in America. And this is the argument I have with a lot of people on the left, that they keep saying, well, you know what? Well, we have our own criminals here. Yes. We don't need to import any more. And that's where the ignorance to them is bliss. Because instead of saying, you know what? If we are trying to get a rap on the American-born criminal element, why in the world would we want millions of other people coming from other countries, okay, to just choke the shit out of law enforcement from doing their job? But people on the left, they don't look at it like that. The mayor's over here putting out this information. So I had to keep digging and digging and digging. And this morning, while I was at work, had some time off, jumped on YouTube, and a video caught my eye by the Hodge twins. I don't know if anybody knows the Hodge twins. I'm going to leave a link in the description. Okay? They put it out this morning. Go to their channel. They're great. They're amazing. Okay? And I'm going to show you the video they put out of somebody, basically boots on the ground, okay, that is going to put out some information that, you know what, once again, the Democrats, what they're saying, hold no water. What this mayor is saying, in my opinion, holds no water. Here we go. So like I said, this was put up by the Hodge twins. I'm going to leave a link in the description, and also, after I play this, I want to show you something that came out that was put out, okay, by the New York Post. So like I said, this is going to be a little lengthy, people, so bear with me, please. This is something that everybody needs to know, because it's happening in New York, it's happening in Chicago, it's happening in Colorado. It's just something that's going to keep spreading. And I'm going to throw this in real quick, okay? The county in Florida that I'm in, I was coming out the supermarket the other day, and in the parking lot, I mean, there's a lot of graduation parties, I guess, not graduation parties, a lot of back to school parties going on. So people are buying all kinds of balloons, and they're decorating their cars, you know, writing stuff, you know, New Year 2024 for high school, and they're putting their kids' names on it, all kinds of fancy, you know, just little things that they're putting out. But I noticed there's one vehicle parked in the parking lot, and everything was written in Spanish. So I go up to it, I read it, and what it basically was in Spanish them protesting Maduro. Okay? So when I look, it's 2 women and like 3 little kids. So being that I speak Spanish, I had to go up to them and ask. This was, what's today? Today's Saturday. This was about 2 days ago. And I asked, and I said, you know, I seen what, you know, I asked her in Spanish. I told her, I said, I seen what you wrote. What's going on? And at first she was hesitant. She didn't want to talk, and then she looked at me, and I told her in Spanish. I said, "You can talk to me in confidence. You know, I just seen what you wrote. What's going on in Venezuela? Just so I can find out." And she told me, she goes, "Maduro won't let go." I said, "Really?" She goes, "Yeah, he won't let go. He won't let go of power, and Venezuela is a mess." And I was like, "So, you know, what's the plan?" You know? And she basically said they're hoping that he gets kicked out of power so things could go back to normal. So things can get better. And I left it at that. I was like, all right, thank you. And I walked away. And I walked away thinking, I'm like, so now, okay, they're not only in New York and Colorado and Chicago. Now, I'm not saying that woman's a problem, or the two women in the car with the children are a problem, but you heard what the news reporter said, that what they do when they set up the communities, that's where the gang members end up to victimize their own people. So my message to whoever's in charge in Florida, and I'm not trying to piss people off in Florida, okay? I voted for DeSantis, but it makes me wonder. Okay? And the reason why I say this, because my channel is about putting America first. Just because I vote for you, believe me when I say this. Just because I voted for you once, don't think I have to vote for you a second time. That's just the way I am. I'm about putting America first. American citizens first. Okay? So I just wanted to throw that in, so people can see. Now, I'm not saying to get scared and go after illegal migrants, stuff like that. I'm not saying that. But you're hearing what's going on. Okay? You heard what the mayor said. Now we're going to play what the Hodge twins put out. Here we go.
Have pretty much overrun the entire building and taken control of the building. They say it's not the code violations at the city clinic.
An undocumented immigrant is not a criminal, and we have to correct course in this conversation. Una persona sin papeles no es criminal. Sí se puede.
Oh, it's good. So she knows pandering in English and in Spanish. That's just great. That's fantastic.
Tell that to the black families has been kicked out because the Venezuelan gang has kicked them out of where they were living. Let me get this straight. They trying to kick out the Venezuelan gangs by kicking everybody out? Yeah, evicted everybody. But the Venezuelan gangs haven't left. It's the same logic they use for guns. Yeah. They take away gun rights because they think that's going to restrict guns to criminals, but it doesn't. Right. A black woman lives there in the community, and she has first-hand knowledge of what's going on there. Yeah. This should open a lot of people's eyes when it comes to Democrats. Check this video.
Okay, now they're going to get into it. This is the woman that I was telling you, the person that's boots on the ground. Okay? Now, you know, what kills me is that so many more Democrats are waking up, are fed up. They're complaining in New York, in Chicago, in Colorado, and in many states where Democrats are in charge. And the more they complain, the more they say, no, this is not what we want. The Democrats are not listening to them, but yet the Democrats are going around saying, we are doing what our constituents want. And that's all bullshit, because they're not listening to what their constituents want. Okay? Let's continue.
Wow. Yeah.
Common Sense 101. The Venezuelan prison gang known as Agua has taken over an apartment complex in Aurora, Colorado, right outside of Denver. The property manager known as CBZ Management has been trying desperately to regain control of their apartment that they...
Okay, I'm going to jump in. Now, you heard what the mayor said, okay? You seen the talking points the mayor put out, the news reporter put out. You know, they're out-of-state slumlords. This woman's already breaking it down with receipts. She's already set the name, okay, excuse me, of the property owner. It gets better. Let's go.
He had just spent $300,000.
Let me pause this. I'm sorry. Go back so like that we can hear it again. And I know there's a little bit of echoing in the background, and I'm sorry. Something's wrong with the audio. Don't know what it is, but I'll get it fixed on the next video. Here we go.
The property manager known as CBZ Management has been trying desperately to regain control of their apartment that they have just spent $300,000 to bring to code with renovations, but they can't even go in there because the Venezuelan gang has taken over their apartments. The city has denied the allegations. Local officials and the media, including Kyle Clark of 9 News, have denied the allegations, even though they have posted eviction notices on the doors of residents and given them a very short amount of time to move out, find somewhere else to live, figure it out, we don't care. If this had been Cherry Creek, if this had been Greenwood Village, Jared Polis, the Colorado governor, would have sent in the damn National Guard. But because it's full of black and brown people in Aurora, nobody cares. This is a very dangerous problem. This is just a testing ground.
Yep.
You need to understand this. This CBZ management says, we would like to be able to resume normal operations at our buildings, but we cannot do so under the threat of present and immediate danger against residents, staff, and management. The spokesperson for this company goes on to say, this is an issue our city needs to face head on with law enforcement and the further support of our state and country's leaders, border czar Kamala Harris, to protect affected tenants, the surrounding communities, and Americans across the nation. Translation: CBZ management is giving the country and the surrounding areas in Denver a heads up. Your community is next. And if you think you're protected because of how you vote or because of your location, you're not. You're not safe. Your children are not safe. You better get civic minded and stop saying, I'm not into politics, because politics is into you. You got Kamala Harris running around now wanting to be the head of the entire country, but she has spent the last 4 years ignoring the border as the border czar, although she was given that job. And for somebody who claims to be a baddie and a boss lady and a strong, empowered woman, she didn't take the lead on a damn thing except ignoring you and putting twerking rappers and fried chicken into neighborhoods to try to get your vote. Once again, for failing you the previous 4 years. But guess what? She wants a chance to do it all over again.
Yep.
This is unbelievable.
Okay, and I'm gonna leave it right there. Okay, I'm gonna leave a link in the description so you guys can watch the rest. Okay. So she basically came with more receipts, okay, than the news reporter did, or the mayor of to that in whatever part that of Colorado that is. Okay. Mind you, she read a statement from the building management saying and contradicting, well, I shouldn't say contradicting, saying exactly what the police officer was saying and everybody else was saying about the problem is that the community, okay, will not help law enforcement and tell them who are the criminal element in the community. I didn't make that up. You heard it on the video. Now she's reading a statement from management who's saying the same thing, but the mayor's saying no, it has nothing to do with the with the gang element from Venezuela. So then who's right and who's wrong, who's telling the truth and who's lying? And then what's the problem? You know, being born and raised in the Bronx, we lived, you know, there was a lot of neighborhoods that we were frequent that were, you know, run down. I remember the way the city would take over, okay, buildings that the landlords let turn into like a slum building. Okay? I thought, and maybe I'm wrong, I thought that was the normal thing to do. For years now, that city officials and or the government will step in and say, you know what, if this landlord's going to be a slumlord, we're taking over. Because it's not right for the tenants to be paying money and live in a slum. So then what is going on with this one particular community? The mayor is saying that the landlord is basically the one giving them a hard time to fix the place up. But if that's the case, now maybe the laws are different in Colorado. I don't know. Maybe they're not allowed to step in and do that. Who knows? But she just read, like I said, something from management, from the building management, saying that's not the case. You heard the conservatives on the last video saying that they know that's not the case. The case is, it's what people are talking about. It's the gangs that are taking over. It's not unheard of. But it just seems like, once again, when you have Democrats in charge, okay, they're doing basically what I've been saying for the longest, and that is not caring about Americans and or illegal migrants. They don't care about humans. They just don't. Because if they did, then they will go enforce and go clean that building up, that community, okay? And the people that are doing right can stay. Not that I'm advocating for the illegal immigrants to stay. In my opinion, I think everybody needs to go back, and things need to be done a different way. But if they cared, since Colorado is a sanctuary area, I'll have to ask once again, where's the sanctuary? Just like in New York, where's the sanctuary? Just like in Chicago, where's the sanctuary? Where's the sanctuary for the people that don't want this? For the people that are complaining about this? Where's the sanctuary for the victims? It's not there. And it won't be there as long as Democrats are in power. Now, before I end the video, I'm going to play one more clip that I came across, that I didn't know, but I came across, and it was put out by the New York Post. And this is for all my people out in New York, because this is what's going on. And if you think it's only going to happen in New York, if they do not jump on this, if this information turns out to be true, and they don't jump on it, it's going to hit everywhere else. This is what I'm talking about. Here we go. Okay, so everybody can see, this came out July 31st. Down here it says New York Post. Okay, I'm going to play this video. I'm going to try not to interrupt, but here we go. Check this out.
The violent Venezuelan prison gang known as Tren de Aragua has made a name for itself in the United States, and just in the last couple of days, Homeland Security Investigations has sent out a memo to its staff stating that there are direct threats to police in local areas of the United States. That includes Denver as well as Albuquerque. Now, these threats are, quote, to greenlight attacks on cops and shootings of cops. The memo, which went out this week, cites, quote, credible human sources from Colorado that have made the information available to law enforcement. And the source of the memo is from the Chicago Homeland Security Field Office, where authorities say that there is already a presence of the violent gang. Now, many of its members have been known to come into the United States in recent years, with Border Patrol only tracking their movement since March 2023. There have been about 70 encounters of Tren de Aragua members at the border. Now, in addition to that, they've done a huge recruiting efforts in places like New York City and Chicago, as well as other sanctuary cities like Denver now. Denver has received about 42,000 migrants in the last couple of years, and that's the most per capita out of any U.S. city. The ways that Tren de Aragua members are known to come into the United States is by infiltrating the southern border, and that's their main route. However, they've been sneaking in and getting past local authorities and their vetting procedures. And this is because they're not getting tattooed and any of the markings that show they're members of the gang until they're in the United States. Border Patrol sources tell us they can't really do thorough vetting of Venezuelans in general because the Venezuelan government doesn't share information on its own citizens with the U.S. Further complicating matters.
Sound familiar? Something I've been saying, something a lot of people have been saying, something a lot of people have been asking questions about, like, why are we doing business with a country that will not give up information about their citizens, but yet you're going to let them just leave your country and go into another country? Why is that? Could it be because Donald Trump was right? These people are emptying out their prisons?
Really difficult to remove them from the United States, so deportations are very minimal and only to Mexico for Venezuelans, and Mexico only accepts a few of them. They really don't accept the huge amounts that the U.S. would need to deport. The Biden administration has recently designated Tren de Aragua as a transnational criminal organization, and it's offered large amounts of money for the hunting down of its leaders. In the United States, several of the gang's members have been tied to prominent crimes, including last month's shooting of 2 NYPD cops by a Venezuelan migrant who's tied to the gang. That migrant later admitted to being tied to the gang and also getting tattoos for the gang in the United States after he arrived from the border. He also later admitted that in New York City, migrant shelters are hubs for gun smuggling for the gangs, which are using food delivery bags to bring in their guns to the shelters. In January, the gang is also believed to be tied to the assault on NYPD cops in Times Square. It appears that the gang has been operating strongholds in areas like New York City and other sanctuary cities across the United States, and law enforcement across the country are being warned to remain vigilant about their activities and potential attacks on cops.
And there you go, people. You know, I look at my demographics, my analytics and the demographics when I check out all my videos. I have a lot of followers from New York, okay? And I'm sure that they're on the up and up of what's going on, that they're getting, you know, a lot of this information. But if you're not, now you see what's going on, okay? So this is not something, I mean, you heard what she said, Albuquerque. So you got them in Albuquerque, New Mexico, in Chicago, Colorado, in New York. I just seen the lady over here in the county I'm in Florida. Okay, I'm not saying that she's part of it. Like I said, not at all. But they're saying that a lot of these gang members, at first it used to be they were able to find them because they had all these tattoos. Now they're not getting tattoos. Okay, that's why it's hard to track them down. What's the solution? 2 things. Shut the border, round everybody up, send them back. You got to start somewhere. And I know that this will affect many, many innocent people, but is it going to affect the innocent people that they're rounding up and sending back? Or is it going to affect the innocent people that stay here and the innocent people born and raised here? Which one weighs more? Not trying to sound harsh. I'm not trying to be a scumbag. I'm just saying. Because if those illegals that are coming in don't want to help the law enforcement, then what say-so do Americans have? Especially when you have leftist mayors, governors, district attorneys, politicians. I mean, when you have them ignoring their constituents, okay, and just leaving the floodgates open. I didn't even know that 42,000 Venezuelans have made it to Colorado. That is a lot of people. That is bigger than many counties, okay, in America. That's more than many small towns in America have in people. So what you basically got in Colorado, 42,000 people, that's enough to start changing a demographic. 42,000 in 5 years. I mean, I'm no mathematician. I don't know, science like that, but I mean, 42,000 divided by 2, you figure man and woman, that's what? 21,000 men, 21,000 women, they have kids. That's an extra what? 21,000. You see what I'm saying, people? And it just goes on and on and on. 5-10 years, that 42,000 can easily become 300,000, 400,000, 500,000 in Denver. If anybody thinks that the Democrats are not trying to change the demographics in America, you're part of the problem. This is what's happening in the UK, is what they're trying to do in Ireland, okay? I mean, they're trying to change the demographics of the Western world. And no matter how many innocent people, whether you're born in the country or you're not, get hurt, I'll say it, I said it once, I'll say it again, they don't care. And you'll have some cackling woman like Kamala saying that illegals are not the problem, saying that they don't need papers, saying that migrants are not illegal, just forgetting about what her constituents are saying and just pandering more and more, the way Biden did on day one, when he just got rid of all of Donald Trump's policies. He blatantly said it, okay, that they were not going to curtail the migrant influx at the border, and this is where, and it's just been an open sieve, and here we are once again. But this time, instead of the communities, like I said, helping law enforcement, instead of the politicians doing their job, the politicians are basically helping the criminals, okay, the ones committing crimes, they're helping them, okay. I mean, Homeland Security, you see, they got the paperwork about it. They were given the they know that the green light was given for them to start attacking cops. So you'll get mad at Trump for saying that he's a racist because one of his policies is that when he gets back into the Oval Office is to start a massive deportation campaign, but yet you guys have all this intel and you won't start the massive deportation. You won't go in force, but you'll go and you'll find people that were protesting on January 6th and call them insurrectionists, homegrown terrorists, okay, a threat to democracy. I don't know, but I have yet to see gangs of conservatives out there robbing jewelry stores, raping people, shooting at cops. I haven't seen it. But yet people, the left, know how to keep brainwashing people, and people keep saying that we're the problem. Is it really? Is it conservatives in Colorado doing this? Is it conservatives there? Is it conservatives in Chicago doing this? In Albuquerque, New Mexico? In New York? Is it conservatives that are bringing in guns, like the lady just said from the New York Post, in their delivery bags? Is it them doing it? Was it conservatives on the video before jumping into the jewelry shop, jumping over, beating up on 2 women and just robbing the place? Was that conservatives? Were those MAGA Republicans? Were those Trump supporters? Just asking. But you would think that this information would be put on blast so people could be aware of their surroundings, since, you know, the left cares so much. And at least admit and say, you know what? Yeah, we messed up. There is a problem. They are gang members. We're giving you this information so like that we could have worked together. But they won't even do that. They'll just keep saying what the mayor of Colorado said, of Aurora, wherever he's at, what he says. Don't believe your lionizer ears. It's got nothing to do with that. There's no proof. You heard the news reporter said that people are bringing this up in Colorado with no proof. With no proof. I showed some proof. The conservative twins showed some proof. The women of the New York Post just showed some proof. The woman that did the TikTok video showed some proof. How much more proof do you need? Anyway, people, that's what I got for you. Don't forget to comment, like, share, subscribe, pass the channel around. And if you can help support the channel, there's a link in my description to my Cash App and my merch store, TrueOutlawPatriot.com. Remember, if you can go back to the video I put out yesterday and put it on blast again, okay, because something tells me that a lot of these videos, I mean, like I said, maybe it's me. Maybe I don't have a bigger following. I think I have a big following right now. I'm very thankful. I thank God you guys are following me, leaving me all the great compliments, even though there's been some lefties coming out and just trying to, you know, just trying to troll. But if any of you lefties do watch this, I hope something here, one of these videos that I just played, will make you understand. But if it don't, again, you're part of the problem. Every innocent person that gets hurt because of these Democrat policies, that falls on you. That all falls on you. Remember that. Remember that. So remember, people, stay vigilant. Keep praying for each other. Keep praying for the women and the children. Keep praying for this country. Pray for your enemies. And pray for Donald Trump. Peace.